Asia's two biggest economies, Japan and China, are to start trading their currencies directly from the start of June. Previously, they'd set exchange rates through relative dollar values. The direct yen-yuan trade in Tokyo and Shanghai is to smooth and cut the cost of trade and finance transactions between them. It's also a small step towards boosting the yuan's role as an international currency.
Our main problem is we spend too much, the deficit's exploding, the welfare state is exploding, the warfare state is continuing. Obama's not slowing up any of these things. He never pretended to slow up the welfare state. He's expanding the war in Afghanistan. This is going to cause a lot more debt and a lot less enthusiasm to buy our debt, puts more pressure on the Federal Reserve to print this, so it's going to get a lot worse. So the sooner we come to the reality that there will be a new standard. If we don't win this, I know you're pessimistic about us winning this and it's difficult, but if we don't win this fight, they will come up with a new currency and it's going to be a world currency. It's going to be a special drawing rights under the IMF or something like that. And believe me, if you think you've lost a lot of your rights and privileges with the federal government and what they do to destroy your money in the Federal Reserve System, you can imagine what it'll be like when the UN has control of a world central bank.
We are very close to a major collapse in the value of the dollar, and you'll see that
like horseshoes and hand grenades here.
The world is now grappling with the consequences of its decision to prop up the dollar, to prop up the U.S. economy. Have we had the complete collapse yet? No, not yet. We have this phony economy that is based on the dollar being the reserve currency. It's based on our ability to print money and buy stuff that the rest of the world makes, to borrow what the world saves. But that is coming to an end because it is exerting huge consequences, huge costs on the rest of the world. They cannot afford to support us, and they are figuring that out, and the rug is going to be pulled out from underneath us.
Okay.
Is it going to be in 6 months or 1 year or 2 years, or is it going to be next week? I don't know, but your viewers can prepare for it now, so when it happens, you know, they're protected. The people that don't do anything are going to get wiped out.
As part of the Japanese Prime Minister's recent trip to China, which ended yesterday, the two countries signed a new currency agreement. The agreement will make it possible for their currencies to be traded directly for the first time. It could signal a significant tightening of economic relations for the world's second and third largest economies.
Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihiko Noda was in Beijing for bilateral talks with the Chinese leader Wen Jiabao when they announced a plan to begin trading their currencies directly. Up until now, trade between yuan and yen had to be first converted to U.S. dollars, a process that added to the cost of doing business. The direct currency exchange will grease an already lucrative bilateral trade between the world's second and third largest economies. The two leaders also said that the Japan Bank for International Cooperation will be allowed to issue bonds in yuan. That's the first time a foreign bank will be allowed to do so. China is currently Japan's largest trading partner, with annual trade worth roughly $340 billion US. These new economic agreements between the Chinese regime and Japan come amid the backdrop of increased U.S. involvement in the region. The United States has courted Tokyo to join the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement, a trade pact that includes regional powers like Australia and Vietnam, but excludes China.
I think we're going to have a collapse before they come around to really thinking seriously, about monetary policy and why we have to revamp it. Recently, we have seen the dollar go down sharply. I think it's going to continue, and hopefully it'll wake the people up and find out you have to have honest money and follow the Constitution because it says only gold and silver can be legal tender. This is so huge that nobody can quite comprehend it. It's into the many, many trillions of dollars. All we know for certain is it's not workable, and it will fall apart. I think this country is going to get much, much poorer, and the entitlements will finally have to end. Because just printing the money and running up the deficit or expecting foreigners to continue to loan us the money, it's not going to last. It's just a dream, and it's very, very serious. The founders didn't even like democracy, and we're expending lives and hundreds of billions of dollars to go over there and tell the Iraqi people how they're going to live. I mean, that's going to end. It's going to end, not because of great wisdom gravitating to Washington. It's going to end because we're going to run out of our wealth, and the entitlement system will be declared bankrupt. Back to the basics, the education, the understanding, the founders' message, the message we have in our Constitution. It could all be preventable but we yield to the temptation of a free lunch.
If Thomas Jefferson or Andrew Jackson came back today and took a look at what has happened to their country, to this system that they laid out in the Constitution, what would their view of what our society is? What would it be? Do you think they would describe us as socialists, as communists?
Yeah, but they might want to arrest us and put us in prison, especially Congress.